Thanks so much for joining us. We're live at 5. It is Friday.
Yes. Amen.
And we are so excited to hear from all of you about what we've been talking about all week. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook if you want to get in on this conversation. We post every day of the week. Let's get started. I'm here with Jennifer Bellamy and Natisha Lance talking about everything that happened so far this week. First, Natisha, what got your attention?
Well, of course, in the wake of the mass shooting in El Paso, Walmart has been getting a lot of backlash from it. But now they've made a decision to pull all the displays of any violent displays or signage that has to do with video games. So a lot of people are applauding Walmart over this, but they're also saying, and here's the letter, they said they asked the stores to take immediate action to remove signs and displays referencing any type of violence, and they gave them a list of things that they need to do in order to accomplish that. Now, it doesn't mean that the stores will not still carry these video games that have violent material, but they don't want them to be visual, and so people walk into the store, and they said that they did this out of respect for the victims, of course, but they're getting some heat because people say, you know, you guys still sell guns, even though you're making this step as far as the video games are concerned. And other people say, experts have said there's no evidence that video games lead to violent behavior. But I want to get some of these comments in before I go to you guys. So Trey says video gaming is international. Blaming video games is just making excuses. And then going forward to Brenda, she says, if someone wants to get a weapon and use it, they will do it, no matter what. Byron says, but they still have guns, as a lot of people are also saying. And Kelly says, Walmart in her town doesn't sell guns, but echoes Brenda in saying if someone wants to shoot up something, they will find a way to do it. So what do you guys think about this?
I don't know. I have pretty mixed emotions on this. I can understand taking that step and saying we're removing this violent material. I think that's probably a good step moving forward, but they're still selling the video games. So it's not like they're saying these video games are a problem, so we're changing this entire behavior. It's just not putting them up on display. I don't know, if you're gonna blame the video games, I don't know that that goes far enough.
Yeah, and I think the first commenter had a good point that people play video games all over the world, and not every place sees
Japan, for example.
They're not seeing what we have been seeing recently when it comes to the violence that we have seen in these mass shootings. And so it's kind of like, where is that balance? I know, as one of the other commenters mentioned, not every Walmart does sell guns.
Right.
But some do, but Walmart's not the only place that's selling them either. And I know that they're, you know, being talked about specifically now because one of the mass shootings recently happened at a Walmart location. But if your issue is the weapon itself, plenty of places
there are plenty of places
still selling them.
And there's some information there. Half of Walmart stores do sell guns. Even more than half of them sell ammunition. In addition to that, a spokesperson says that they're not changing their gun policy at this point. They're going to keep it the way that it is. But Walmart has fallen into this larger conversation with corporate America having to take responsibility for gun issues because people don't feel like our elected officials are doing it. So Cory Booker, who's a Democrat who's running for president, said Walmart should use its power to stop selling guns in its stores until politicians and gun manufacturers get their act together and raise the standard for gun ownership in this country. But should it be on the responsibility of corporations to do that as opposed to our elected officials?
Well, I think you made a point because everyone is having to deal with this, especially when their name becomes a part of a specific social issue that we're talking about, whether it's LGBTQ rights or whether it's for racial issues. We are seeing that companies are having to say, yes, I'm going to do this, or try to find a middle way down the road. Walmart, so many people go to Walmart of all political beliefs and spectrums, and so they clearly don't want to alienate one portion of their shoppers to make another happy.
Well, do you remember when Dick's Sporting Goods, they decided, to change their policy?
That was after Parkland.
They got huge amounts of blowback, like tons of blowback. I saw that all over social media. So I think it is difficult for these big corporations to figure out if you have people on both sides of the debate, where do you come down in your corporate policy? That's really difficult.
And I know some people might not agree with me on this, but I feel like I have no issue with guns. You know, I'm not trying to take guns away from anybody, but I feel like they should be sold in a specific gun store as opposed to a place like Walmart where you have so many other things and people go in there for different types of things. Kids go in there, there's clothes, there's groceries, there's all types of different things, but I don't see there being a problem if it just being at a specific specialty store where you can get that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do going forward. Yeah. Definitely, for sure. Thank you for that one. This one caught my attention because I remember being in school, and this wasn't the reaction then. Hall County, which is a local school district here, had a bomb threat at their school. And all of the reaction I saw online were parents saying, I'm keeping my kid home from school today. So I think it is that feeling that parents are so nervous to send their children to school that they automatically say, you know what, I'm not going to take the chance. So I posted the story on my Facebook page, and immediately I said, would you take your kid out of school or keep your kid home? Yes, 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 yes. I mean, immediately parents are saying, I would keep them home for this. When I was in school, we got bomb threats all the time. We actually had right where our, like, it was a payphone. And so it was the front office and the payphone was right here, and people would use the payphone to call the front office and say there's a bomb in the school.
Wow.
And nobody took it seriously. But now I think people have to take it so seriously now because it's a very different environment.
It's very true. I mean, we're seeing it all the time. Especially here at the station, we hear about these schools being on lockdown, even if it's just for, you know, a suspect in the vicinity of a school. It's so scary. And especially when you're dealing with the younger students, I don't think parents are willing to risk it any longer because it might not even be a fellow student. It could be a spouse or a partner of someone who works there that's upset and comes in and decides to do that. And so you just never know. We're hearing too many cases of it being caught and too many cases of it happening for people not to use an abundance of caution with their kids.
Right. Yeah, I agree with the folks on your page. I would do the exact same thing. And I was in school, you know, after Columbine. Oh, wow. And so once again, there were all these threats that were coming in. People didn't take it as seriously, but it's a different day now. You know, Columbine at the time when it happened, people thought that was just like a fluke, like a one-off, like that wouldn't happen again. But now we've seen time and time again, there is no amount of caution that will ever be too much when it comes to protecting your children.
And that's a good point. Someone commented on my Facebook page and they said, yes, I understand the concern, but schools are usually safer that day with the increased police presence. And I think that's something different that we're seeing now too, are so many more police officers.
That doesn't always work, because look in the case of Parkland.
Right.
There was that officer who was there and it did not help, did not do what he was supposed to do in that instance. So I think as a parent, you are the first line of protection when it comes to your children. You can't put that responsibility on anybody else, whether it be law enforcement, teachers, administration, etc. It starts with you.
Well, that's a really good point. And hopefully, Jennifer, you have a happier story to talk about
today.
I
have something to lighten the mood a little bit, just a little. So I was online this morning and I saw an article about how to tell someone that you don't want to be in their wedding. Ooh. Or can you? Is there a proper way to do it? And so I was like, ooh. Can you?
No. No.
Can you?
My gut reaction is no.
I feel like you can.
No. Really? I've been in 13 weddings. I never say no. Never say no.
You're like 27
Yes. I'm glad you knew the number because I'm like, what movie is that? What movie is that?
You're our Katherine Heigl.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's the most special day of their life, and to be invited to be a part of that is such an honor.
But isn't it a large financial responsibility?
It certainly is.
It's a huge undertaking, so you have to think about the bachelorette party, you have to think about the bridal shower, you have to think about the wedding, you know, the bridesmaid dress. So it's expensive.
Sometimes shoes, hair, makeup.
It's a lot.
It really becomes a lot of investment financially and your time.
And it can be emotionally, depending on who the bride is.
Or who her other attendants are.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I honestly think that other issues arise when you're dealing with other people that aren't even the bride. You're trying to surprise the bride for a shower or something, and you're getting into these little and and then it's new friends, old friends, mixing people that you don't know. That can make it that much more difficult. So I posted this on my Facebook page to get a little bit of a sense of what people were saying, and a lot of folks clearly have no problem saying no. JR saying, I've been in too many already. And then another comment coming in, take a look at this one. Sandra saying, I can easily say no without an explanation. My friends know and understand. That is not me. Caitlin, I am right on board with you. I would feel so bad. If someone wanted to ask me, I would feel
but
really.
What if it's at the expense of yourself? What if you're overextending yourself? If you know you really can't afford to do it, or you know you're just not up for it at the time. Maybe you're in 10 weddings before. Like, Kayla, if you say no. I've never actually been to a wedding. All of my friends, not yet. Most of my friends are not married yet, but I have friends who have been, who have said at this point, I won't do it again.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I think it's been more financially burdensome with people becoming, people wanting to take these fancy bachelorette trips, and you see all these pictures and things online,
Yes,
and you want it to look this
information.
way, and you get matching T-shirts, and you get all these things, and you want it to be nice, and you want to do that for your friend. So I guess if you are going to participate, then you need to be able to make sure
Did
that
the
you're all
article say
in.
that there is a way to do it?
They said you can't say no. Ask for time to decide if you need to. And then they said, be willing to explain, hey, I really love you, but my finances right now, I can't. And maybe offer to participate in another way. Say, I'd love to be a hostess or do a reading. I mean, nobody wants to have that conversation, but hopefully if you're your friend, they'll understand.
And if you're J-Bell, you can sing. There's a lot of
you could do
different things you
anything.
could do.
I have wedding sang before.
Oh, I love that.
I
need to get married
that's
again.
for another
You're going to
day.
be my
My brother's
bridesmaid.
wedding.
You're going to
Another
sing
time.
for me. I love it. And if any of you out there need a bridesmaid, call me. I'll say yes.
She's a pro.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. Please make sure that you leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel. We post there every single day. And we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend.
Bye, everyone.